evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here to race number 4 of the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series as we're under the lights here tonight at Lanier National Speedway, the dirt-covered version, the track just a little under 0.4 of a mile. I'm Seth Cole alongside of Matthew Rodriguez. And Matt, we have seen some incredible racing in the last few weeks here, starting out the season. It just seems like it's going to get better, but here tonight, a little bit more of a congested track. Not nearly as many options for drivers as they had with the spacious Eldora last week. Definitely does. That points gap was pretty big. It was about 50 points, I believe, after we left Kokomo. It's now been cut down to 25 points between Trapper and Thornton. Jason Freeman, who was actually the fastest in qualifying, he's third in points, only 44 points back. And then again, as I said, it's early on in the season, so still plenty of opportunity for drivers to be able to mount a charge and get themselves into this battle as well. Green flag in the air here for the first heat. 10-lap heats, 8 drivers maximum in each heat, and the top 5 advance. However, all drivers will be advancing in tonight's event. Some drivers, I believe, will be taking part in the consolation. Actually, we might not even have a consolation race here tonight. So we got a car there into the wall. I think that might have possibly been the 71 of Kenneth Drake. Absolutely not. No room for error for the 20 car. A little bit more space that time there through 1 and 2. Oh, well, not off the corner, though. MacArthur making his second start on the season as he'll pull right up to the back bumper again there of Jason Freeman. But Bobby Trapper around the top side, out in front in that 2 machine, rides right up against the wall. The best battle right now is for that second position. It's about to be a 3-man fight because after Kenneth Drake got the wall, he's now hooked up the top side and he's reeling in Jason Freeman and Don MacArthur. We're going to have to wait and see just exactly how it's going to play out here tonight. Like I said, we might not need the consolation race, but based on the fact that we have 7 cars in this first heat, more than likely there will be 2 drivers that will be moving on to the consolation race. But 15 drivers took time here tonight in qualifying, so all 15 will obviously be making it into the main show. The question is here, are we running 2 10-lap heats, having the top 5 from each transferring in, and then having 5 drivers possibly in that 12-lap LCQ, if you will, that consolation race. Jason Freeman down to the inside, looking for a slide job on Bobby Trapper. Could not quite get the power down, though. Trapper going to hold position for the time being. And the first heat is over. We now have the technical difficulties fixed there. We heard the wonderful wisdom words of Matt, and
no, you can keep me muted. You don't need me. No, you don't need me needed.
All right, Matt, now you can talk. Now you can actually talk to these good people.
Well, let me see if I can give a little bit of a recap what we were kind of trying to nail down there a little bit. Obviously, going off of Eldora in the first race there, The biggest key was, I mean, Trapper's kind of showing a little bit of a kink in the armor here. I mean, obviously he dominated the first 2 races of the season. Third race, he kind of showed that little bit of weakness. Again, second place is not too bad, but easily when you let someone else win after you've been dominating the last few weeks, not really going to put you on top. So I think he's really going to try and see if he can rebound. But then again, this is Thornton's really chance to see if he can take advantage and trying to take the points lead.
Well, Trapper with the win there in that first heat. Almost a challenge there by Jason Freeman, but came up just short. Now Tony Lucarelli is going to be leading the second heat to green with Billy Thornton, driver you were just talking about there, on the outside of this front row. One thing I was noticing here tonight, and we'll have to see if it actually takes place when we get towards the main event, Lucarelli especially ran way down to the inside wall, and there are those openings there for pit road entry and pit road exit. You run too low, you could very well spear your race car on one of those pit walls. So it's going to come down to who wants to live dangerously, I think, as to how low you run on the track.
I mean, I don't know if it's really about how dangerous you want to live, as you're trying just to grab so much, and hey, if I just go a little bit lower, if I just arc a little bit closer to that wall, I can just get a much more of a tenth on him and see if I can pass him, and that's when you start getting in trouble.
Lucarelli, for the moment, has the top spot, but Billy Thornton has jumped up to the high side and tries to get alongside the right rear quarter panel. Can't quite do it. The very colorful 071 of Josh Gerlach down there. Oh, someone got that inside wall. I was just talking about it. I think that was the 59 of Brent Sweet that might have plastered it. No, actually Bobby Puckett in the 40.
Yeah, Brent Sweet just gave Puckett just a little bit of assistance into that inside wall. Puckett did a really good job staying out of that opening, though.
Yeah, that car I thought could have been all torn up with the contact he made, but nope, for the time being, still looks like he is going to be up to speed. It does drop him back to the 5th position, the final transfer spot, if you will, to get a good qualifying position here as the top 5 transfer. The rest of the drivers, I'm assuming, are going to go to the consolation race. The battle right now is for second. That's where Billy Thornton's on the top, Josh Gerlach down in the bottom.
Easily as I'm seeing here, track position, track position, track position. It seems right now that track position is really everything, at least early on in the race, of the track, at least still kind of fresh and new as it is. Later in the race, I'm kind of curious to see as the track gets more worn down, if more lanes will kind of open up, or if that leader will kind of have a little bit less advantage.
Yeah, it's interesting as we watch right now. This, of course, the second heat running on the track left by the drivers in the first heat, and we're not seeing much of an advantage for either the inside or the outside line between Thornton and Gerlach. Gerlach actually trying to use the slide job and actually muscles his way to the second spot. Oh no! Billy Thornton up into the air. Steven Doziak Jr. gets involved as well. I think that David Harvey got a piece, and now the 11, I thought he was going to be stuck on the outside or the inside wall, but was able to get the thing back in reverse, and that was just a case of 2 drivers wanting the same piece of real estate, and I think the 071 at Gerlach was getting a little tired of racing side by side with Thornton.
Realistically, I mean, I was about ready to get into saying, it seems like how you're going to pass here, at least how you're going to kind of take the line away or see if you can get a bit of advantage on the guy, is kind of just running him a little bit rough. I mean, obviously you don't want to throw the guy into the wall, but hey, you're going to have to kind of run him up the hill. You're going to have to see if you can pinch him down, see if you can make him lift, and that's the thing where neither Josh or Billy lifted there, and that was kind of the end result.
You see right here, Billy Thornton just couldn't get the right side tires off the wall. It actually was the 40 of Bobby Puckett that got him, and then up and on top of Steven Doziak Jr.'s 55. So tough break there for Billy Thornton. Again, though, the silver lining in the gray cloud is the fact that these drivers are all going to be making it into the main event, but it could very well play a factor into how far back in the field Billy Thornton's going to have to start the 35-lap main event race.
And that's kind of the thing where you may think some of these drivers are kind of thinking, I wonder how this track's going to be a little bit later in the race, and that may give you more incentive to kind of just back off and hang back, maybe take your chance in the consolation race. But obviously, the starting position is coming to be quite important here.
As you saw on the race format earlier on, caution flags do not count. That counts not only for the main event, but here for the heats as well. So the white flag's in the air. Oh, we got a spinner!
Oh!
That's Gerlach hard up into the air. He got a hit from David Harvey. These drivers are going to race back to the start-finish line, however, because the white flag was received.
Josh Gerlach never stopped driving that thing. He was sliding, he was flipping around, never let off, just kept driving.
Lucarelli's going to get the win. Puckett in second, Harvey third. Then Brent Sweet and Gerlach actually crossed the line in the 5th position, and it looks like we are having no consolation race. So those 2 heat races determined the starting lineup for tonight's event. I thought it was 15 drivers took time, but actually it was only 14 drivers. So 14 drivers get set here for 35 laps under the lights at Lanier.
You know, most people may not like small fields, but usually I'm one of those guys who ends up hanging out in the back and not having that much speed, and I'm thinking, hey, points day. Regardless, at the end of this day, it's going to be a very good points payout for me.
Absolutely. It looks like if we're looking at the 2 drivers that have won the last 3 races, looks like the driver that drew the big straw, if you will, was Bobby Trapper. He's going to be starting in 9th. Billy Thornton, however, is going to start shotgun on the field back in the 14th position. But as you said, smaller field, maybe an opportunity for him to be able to cut his way up there, up to the race lead, but it's going to be kind of a last to first challenge for that driver.
You know, I really wonder if any drivers are just kind of getting a little bit more comfortable. I mean, obviously, when you have a bigger field, the pressure kind of weighs on your shoulders. You get a little bit nervous. You kind of start breathing. Your heart starts pumping, and that I've learned that kind of leads into bigger mistakes. I'm wondering maybe with a smaller field, hey, most of these drivers here are friends. They know how each other races. I wonder if we're just going to be a little bit more kind of laid back here.
I believe 2 drivers here tonight are making their debut in the series. The first one, of course, Steven Doziak Jr. in the 55, and I believe the other one is Josh Gerlach in the 071. Actually, Jason Gracias in the 1, also making his debut here tonight as well. Green flag is in the air, and we want to take the opportunity now as we've gotten the green flag here to highlight the car that's running currently in 2nd place. Now, normally he drives the 4, but tonight, Brian Rubel is driving the number 12A, made famous, of course, by Jumpin' Jack Johnson, who ran a number of dirt tracks in the New York State area, including right in my backyard, Fonda Speedway. And so running a tribute to him tonight, pretty cool there to see that 12 machine out in front. And how cool do you think
spinner in the back! Spinner in the back, Bobby Puckett. Yeah, so he's already cut you off, but there's a spin in the back. Bobby Puckett looks like he may have just gotten a little bit. Is Puckett and Trapper. It looks like Puckett may have just sent it in just a little bit too deep.
Don't think he got really much damage, if any. Here is the replay as, oh yeah, just drove it really deep. Ooh, close call there for, I think that was the 21 of Nick Cohn. And then Jason Gracias almost losing it there, too, in his attempt for avoidance. But if you're going to spin, that's the best case scenario. Spin and don't hit anything. But I want to go back quickly here to the driver we were just talking about there, the driver of that 12A machine. I mean, so many times we've been having the opportunity to be able to see drivers out there running in tribute races, running in tribute schemes. How cool would it be for Brian Rubel to be able to take a checkered flag here tonight in that tribute scheme?
I mean, obviously, if you're running kind of a throwback or a tribute scheme, at least to me, I've always felt a little bit more pressure, like saying, hey, man, this car's won some things. This car's done some things. I mean, it would mean so much, I believe, both to him and kind of people around him saying, hey, I mean, look at this scheme that has this heritage. Look at what this scheme means. Obviously, with the tragedy recently, I think it would be just huge.
Green flag back in the air as Kenneth Drake gets us back underway. Battle right now going to be for the 3rd position. That's where Brian Rubel jumps to the top side of Jason Freeman in the 20 car. Freeman, of course, finished 2nd in the first heat race, and he'd like to finish 1 position better here in the main event.
And almost Nick Kahan almost got that inside wall. Trapper was almost involved in another incident. But something I was going to mention, at least on the start of the race, I don't know what it is between Don MacArthur and Jason Freeman, but man, they cannot get away from each other, and they cannot get off each other.
Bobby Trapper there on the inside, 3 wide. MacArthur stuck in the middle. That's Brent Sweet that just got slid up into. Kind of maybe saved the 101 from spinning around. Now he drives it deep to the inside of Cohen. These guys not giving a lot of room, and as I mentioned, I mean, these guys are used to the spaciousness of Eldora from last week. It's not there here tonight at Lanier.
And that's the thing, Eldora, man, there's so many lanes to work with, so much room. And then we go to Lanier, and
oh boy, that's Thornton, second in the points that exchanged a little bit of sheet metal with MacArthur.
Everyone's just so packed, but I'm just seeing Kenneth Drake just drive off here. It looks like David Harvey and Jason Freeman's kind of making that battle for second now.
Or beating and banging back there. You had Josh Gerlach and Don MacArthur making some contact. Brent Sweet was in the middle of that. And in the midst of all of this, a driver that's been able to drive away from the mayhem has been points leader Bobby Trapper. He's been able to work his way from 10th now up to 5th in the span of about 5 laps.
I mean, you got to think, when he was kind of getting spun around and obviously got hit and have the wonder the thoughts going through his head, hey, how much is this going to affect my car? Well, the answer is not that much.
Kenneth Drake. We talked about this being early on in the season, and a driver could very much so, with a win here tonight, put themselves up there in the championship conversation. Drake comes into this race 5th in the point stands, gained 2 spots last week, is only 49 points back. So, look no further than the driver of the 71 to maybe try and make it a 3-man fight for the points lead next week.
I mean, don't count out Jason Freeman. I've been watching him, and honestly, he would be higher up in points. I think he'd actually be giving a good battle for second place from Thornton. If he hadn't have had that bad run at Kokomo, 14th place, 7th at Volusia, and then a 3rd place at Eldora, easily could have been a higher position at Kokomo.
Gained 5 spots in the standings after last week at Eldora, did Jason Freeman. 44 points back from the points lead, as Bobby Trapper seems to be the lone driver inside of the top 5 that has decided to go up to the top line, and maybe a little contact there with the outside wall, not too much. Trying to get the 4th position away from Tony Lucarelli in the 41.
Now, Seth, we obviously know that as the laps start to count on and without cautions, these guys are going to start catching lap cars. And we saw that lap cars had a bit of an effect at Eldora with even how wide that track was. How much do you think a lap car is going to play in effect for just a smaller dirt oval like Lanier?
Boy, I'll tell you what, that's going to be difficult. I think even more so for the car that's being lapped than the car that's doing the lapping. It is very difficult at the tighter configured tracks, especially at a dirt track where you're going sideways into the corner, to figure out what line is it that the race leader wants, how do I adjust my line to accommodate him, and sometimes it doesn't always pan out the way you plan.
And that's the thing, they always say the best thing you can do when being lapped is just be predictable, but it's kind of hard. Obviously saying that in mind, obviously you don't want to run on an offset line that you've been running on, but hey, the line you're probably running on is a fast line that the leader wants. That can create calamities.
Right now I'm looking in terms of lap times. You can see a huge gap that translates to over 2 seconds from Kenneth Drake back to Jason Freeman. And Freeman, Drake would love to see this thing run green to the end, continue to extend that interval. He is running the fastest lap times on the track right now, too. Most drivers back here from 2nd back to 6th are running the 15.2s. He's been consistently running high 15.1s.
The 2 guys I've got my eyes on right now has to be Bobby Trapper and David Harvey. Easily, Trapper's just kind of sending it on each corner, but Harvey's always right on the back bumper of at 6.9 when he leaves the corner, and they've been making some really good time up there.
And it's interesting because before we came onto the broadcast, we were looking at the scenario after Eldora, and you were bringing out the question about Billy Thornton. Could he follow up his victory from last week here tonight at Lanier? Well, right now, he is mired back in the 8th position, while Trapper has just broken into the podium, 3rd place.
And see, that's the big thing where, again, even though it's early in the season, these are kind of the races that you have to perform. Even if this isn't one of your best tracks, you kind of have to claw and fight your way up there. And unfortunately, Trapper doesn't really look like he has any kinks in the armor here at Lanier.
We almost were 3 wide there with Harvey in the middle, Lucarelli on the bottom, and Trapper on the top. But Trapper keeps getting that better exit off the corner. He now will clear for that 3rd position, leaving Harvey and Lucarelli to battle for 4th place. The interval now between 1st and 2nd, 2.3 seconds from Drake back to Jason Freeman. And obviously Jason Freeman right now, time is running out and the gap continues to either grow or stay status quo, but still would be a good points day, good back-to-back points weeks for the driver of the 20 machine.
As I kind of look at David Harvey a little bit more, I started poking into his stats. This is an amazing run for him, just 4th currently. He has not had a finish in the top 10 this season. So obviously this good top 5 run for him, easily with the position to get up to the podium. That is amazing. This is a great run for him. This is what he needs to kind of get his season back on track.
And it's not a case of a driver that's made, only one start of the 3 races this season. He has run every single race so far. He is 3 for 3 in making starts. So to your point, as we got a car coming down pit road, I think that was Jason Gracias getting out of the way of the race leader. But to your point, great run there for David Harvey. I'm certainly hoping the commentator's curse didn't come into play, that we didn't just jinx him.
I definitely hope not, but this would be a great finish for him, great run for him. He's been kind of running that same line that Trapper's been running. He's actually been beating him on a few laps there. It looks like he may have caught a little bit of the wall.
Saw Jason Gracias come down pit road. He, I believe, is just still in his pit stall. We did have 2 drivers that have retired out of the race, and that was Don MacArthur. He'll finish 13th. Stephen Doziak Jr. in his debut here tonight will finish in 14th place, as it's going to be 4 laps to go this next time around for Kenneth Drake. If Freeman, Trapper, Harvey, and Lucarelli have any shot for this victory, they're going to caution to come out sooner rather than later. They just got to make sure they're not the caution.
I'd honestly say if you're Harvey on back, you're hoping for a caution. You're just something to give you a little late ray of sunshine here, saying, hey, can I get, he's going to catch a break. Obviously, I think Harvey is probably happy with where he's running right now, but Trapper and Freeman really want to get up there and battle.
And they are battling right now with each other. Dave Harvey in the mix as well. This is 2nd, 3rd, and 4th with less than 4 laps to go.
Oh, car flipping! Josh Garlick!
Well, there's the caution. Gerlach in his debut here tonight, up and over, and this caution changes up everything.
And I'm going to tell you, I just heard a scream over the microphone, and that had to be Kenneth Drake. That was exactly what he didn't want to see. Almost on his white flag lap. He was almost there.
Don't see anyone around the 071. Nope, just a case of what we saw earlier on with Billy Thornton, where the right side tires, they jut out from the chassis, they grab the outside wall. Next thing you know, it's got you flipping upside down.
What do we call it? One man's gain is another man's misery.
Oh, I think misery is an understatement for the 71 car right now.
See, Drake has to be kind of just slamming his head against the wheel, saying, man, why? Why couldn't you just do about 1 lap later? And obviously, Freeman, Trapper, and Harvey are saying, man, this is what I needed. I would have liked it to happen about 5 laps before, but hey, this is great.
So it'll be Drake, the race leader, as he is now caught up to the pace truck. Freeman in 2nd. Trapper looking for his 3rd win in 4 races. David Harvey, who, as we've mentioned, is right now en route to his best finish of the season. And Tony Lucarelli in 5th place. And the thing that I noticed when we were following the 2nd place battle coming to the end of this race, you've got the 20, the 69, the 17. When they were all battling, they were all running the same line up there at the top. I think it's going to come down here on this final restart. Who's brave enough to try and see if there's any grip available down the inside line?
And man, Trapper was just on that wall, just trying to get as much grip down there as possible. Seeing Harvey really is the only one trying that outside line here at the moment.
Drake got himself a decent jump. He's about 2 car lengths ahead. The driver he might have to worry about is that 2 car of Bobby Trapper. Nope, he's still alongside of Freeman, and now we have seen the white flag here for Kenneth Drake. We'll see if he can hold him off.
Oh, and Kenneth Drake's just hoping. Freeman tried to send it in there. Oh, right in the back.
And I think that might have been Josh Gerlach again. No, I'm sorry, that was actually Nick Cohen that went around there coming to the checkered flag. But Kenneth Drake can now breathe a sigh of relief. From the elation of leading by over 2 seconds to the despair of a caution coming out, and now back to the relief of being able to burn it down for the first time this season as he'll take the checkered flag at Lanier.
Easily, that could have ended very badly for Drake. I kind of breathed that collective sigh of relief with him. Obviously, you kind of dominated the race exactly from the get-go. This is your race to lose, and he didn't choke when it came down or time to it.
Certainly did not. Did exactly what he needed to do. Jason Freeman and Bobby Trapper, they tried to do everything they could. Freeman on the top side and Trapper on the inside line, but neither one could be able to close up the gap there on Kenneth Drake. And it'll be interesting now to see, as we mentioned, Drake comes into this race 5th in the points standings, was 49 points back. how much he will actually gain in the point standings, especially with the fact that Trapper was able to bring it home in the third position. Billy Thornton back there in eighth place, and Freeman finishing in second. So I don't know if a whole lot is going to change in terms of the points positions heading into next week or not.
Yeah, and that's the thing where obviously Trapper kind of finished high up enough where it won't really affect him in points. But I mean, I'm looking at Thornton here. Thornton's really the biggest loser here, but Jason Freeman, in my mind, is one of the biggest winners here. Obviously, just kind of having that good, solid finish. He's going to start clawing his way back up the points.
There you see the drivers that did not finish this race. Josh Gerlach actually finished this race on pit road. Jason Garcias the same. And then Don MacArthur and Stephen Doziak Jr. finished behind the wall. And so it will be interesting to see what those points look like heading into Williams Grove next week. But for the time being, let's see if we can talk with our top three finishers here tonight. And why don't we kick things off with the driver that came in as the points leader and more than likely will leave as the points leader, getting a podium finish here tonight, Bobby Trapper. Hey, Bobby, it's Seth up here in the FRN booth. You got me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Seth.
Well, man, we saw that you kind of got an unlucky draw in terms of where you started here for this main event, starting around mid-pack, but you made very quick progress on both the inside and outside line. A thing we were talking about as opposed to Eldora last week, you guys didn't have nearly as much room to be able to work with, so how difficult was it with that limited space to be able to cut your way through traffic to get up to where you were?
Yeah, it's pretty good the way these guys have the series set up. So if you win the heat race, they invert the guys to start further towards the back. So that put us 9th or 10th. And obviously the spin early in the race didn't help. But yeah, I think just in general, everyone raced really clean this week and a lot better than Eldora, surprisingly, considering, like I said, there is less room at this track, but a lot less caution. So a lot less chances to regroup the field. So just a lot of hard racing with everyone. And luckily everyone kept it green and it was really fun racing.
All right, so let's talk about that final restart there. I mean, we were kind of thinking the 71 was going to run away with this thing. You guys had a great battle going on for second, but all of a sudden that late caution comes out. You got a shot there to maybe be able to make a move with 2 laps to go.
The file is kind of tricky to figure out which way to go. Sort of top and bottom. We're sort of working for seems like everyone there. So it's try to go where Freeman and Kenneth didn't go and try and give it a shot. But he was right on point on the start. He had a perfect start and hit 2 really good laps to take home the win.
So you came into this race as the points leader. Looks like with this third place finish, you're going to continue to extend that points lead a little bit heading into Williams Grove. So what's the mentality as you're starting to near the halfway point of this season?
No, I think just keep doing what everyone's been doing. Just race clean and try and keep the car in one piece and just go out there and have fun.
Well, Bobby, congratulations on a great run here tonight. The consistency certainly continues to be with you here as you try and head towards that double points race in a few weeks at Weed Sport. Is there anybody that you would like to thank as far as sponsors and shout-outs?
Yeah, I just got to thank all the guys at TNR for hosting the series, Master Millwright and Rubel and Garrett and Jason Freeman and everyone else that put this thing together. It's a good reason to get home and turn a couple laps every week and really enjoy it.
That's Bobby Trapper. He brings home third place here tonight at Lanier and continues to grow his points lead heading into next week. Congratulations, Bobby. We look forward to seeing if maybe you can make it 3 for 5 in victories to start the season next week when we get to Williams Grove.
Yeah, look forward to it. Thanks a ton, guys. Have a good one.
And let's see now if we can get our second place finisher, Jason Freeman. Hey, Jason, it's Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got a copy.
And you've had some really good runs the last couple of weeks, gained a ton of positions in the standings last week after Eldora, and then a second place performance here tonight as well. Certainly looking like the consistency is there for the 20 car, but what little more do you need to be able to get this 20 machine in victory lane?
Well, pacing before we took the green flag, I clobbered the backstretch wall and bent my left front wheel a little bit, so that definitely didn't help. But still drove halfway decent. Was able to drive the second there. I think I was third last week, second this week. So hopefully get the monkey off the back soon and get up there. But Trapper's always wicked fast. He's fast every week, and anytime you get to start ahead of him in a feature is always good. And got to make the best of it. And I tried tonight, but just couldn't run down the leader like I needed to.
They had the aid of that late race caution. We were just talking moments ago with Bobby Trapper, and he was talking about with single file restarts how difficult it is to actually be able to make a move on restarts if the leader gets a good enough jump. So you're sitting there, you're realizing that there's 2 laps to go. We were talking up here in the booth about which lane do you choose? Do you jump up there to the top side right against the wall, or do you go right down to the inside as low as you possibly can go? What was your strategy there of which line you were going to run for the final 2 laps?
Entering the turn on the first lap, you have to stay on the bottom to stay right with them because you're not up to speed yet. If you go to the top, you don't have the momentum just to go up across there yet. But so my goal was to try to get in there on the bottom and on the turn 1, and then turn 3 I was going to move back to the top, and I was just going to try to stay to the top as much as I could, and then hopefully be able to try to get a run down the backstretch and throw a slider there on the last lap. But I just wasn't close enough for that to happen.
Well, Jason, a great run for you here tonight. The consistency continues there for your 20 team. We're now going to give you the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shout outs.
First off, everyone that puts this league on, I'm Garrett Gleason's I believe the main guy here, and me and Rubel are the dirt admins, and Jason Gracias is one of the asphalt admins. So everyone that helps take care of this and makes it run as we can. You guys for putting on the broadcast. I don't have my car painted up yet, but I got a new computer here, so started doing a little streaming. Didn't stream the races that are broadcasted usually, but got a Facebook page called Mason Dixon Racing Esports. So if guys want to check that out, they can do that. And yeah, I believe that's pretty much everything.
That's Jason Freeman. Great performance here tonight as he'll bring it home 2nd place at Lanier. Congratulations, Jason, and we look forward to seeing this consistency further on down the road. Maybe see you find victory lane as early as next week at Williams Grove.
I'm excited to go there. I've never ran these cars there yet, but I've always done well at the Grove here on iRacing, and it's actually my home track in real life. It's only about 45 minutes away, so excited to go there next week.
All right, well, best of luck to you. Going to be having him as the hometown kid next week. That's Jason Freeman. Good luck next week, Jason.
Thank you very much.
And now let's see if we can go down to victory lane as gotta wonder about the wave of emotions that was going on inside the cockpit of that number 71 machine here tonight. Let's talk with Kenneth Drake. Hey, Kenneth, it's Seth up here in the FRN booth. You got me?
Can y'all hear me? I got
We can. Man, I'll tell you what. Talk about a roller coaster ride there in those final 3 laps. You had this thing by 2 seconds. Then that late race caution comes out, and you've got a bunch of hungry drivers on your back bumper there for a 2-lap shootout. I mean, were you able to kind of put the fact of the disappointment of that caution coming out in the back of your mind and focus on the strategy you had to have for that final run, or was there a little bit of emotion inside the cockpit?
I saw the car. There was one car about 5 laps before that spin out in front of me. I was like, oh man, I don't want to see a caution. Then I was coming to the white, and that car wrecked in front of me. I was like, that's one thing I did not want to see. I was comfortable being out front and just setting my own pace riding around the bottom, and I was scared those guys just drive around me on the top.
Now, the thing I want to ask as well about being that lead car, did it come down to choosing which lane to block, or was the main focus just to make sure, since it was a single file restart, that you got the best start possible so they couldn't even get close to you in that 2-lap shootout?
I was just mainly getting the best start possible I could get on the bottom. I figured if they were going to drive around me, I was just going to give them the top and hope for the best.
Well, man, you had a great run last week, finishing up there inside of the top 10 at Eldora. It jumped you up into the top 5 in the point standings. You're going to continue to gain points here tonight with this victory, so congratulations on that. And now we're going to give the opportunity for some thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
I'd like to thank everybody who's helped me out, and then BSR Chassis Components and Papa Jim's Pizza for helping out this week.
That's Kenneth Drake. He's going to bring it home with the victory here tonight at Lanier Dirt. Congratulations, Kenneth. Hopefully this is a sign of more victories to come. Best of luck next week at Williams Grove.
Thank you, guys.
And that is going to conclude our coverage here tonight. Boy, talk about a sprint. What a short race here as these drivers, they were able to run with only 2 cautions here this evening, one at the very beginning and one at the very end, and a long green flag run in between. But Kenneth Drake, despite that late race caution, I can say words before I think of them. He is able to pick up the victory, becomes the third different winner in the first 4 races. And we're going to have to see how this is going to situate him in the point standings heading into next week. It is next week, the Williams Grove Dirt Track. And as we heard there from Jason Freeman, first time that he's been on it, he's a home track boy. I believe it's the first time that we've ever broadcasted at that track before as well. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see what these drivers are going to be able to do at that track. The green flag is going to fly at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you guys join us for that. Once again, congratulations to Kenneth Drake on his victory here tonight. Thank you to Matthew Rodriguez for joining me in the booth, and thank you to all of you for tuning in to tonight's broadcast here for the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series. For everybody here at FRN, for Matthew Rodriguez, I'm Seth Cole. We'll see you guys next week at Williams Grove as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's